Hey guys, so I have been playing Last Epoch for the last 2 days, and in my opinion the game is pretty fun, but it's still in early access, so it still has bugs and things that are not implemented yet. The game is not free, and to be transparent, I got it for free, but it is not a sponsored video in any way, and I don't really want to do a game review just yet. I think if you're following my channel, you're most likely interested in builds. So instead I just want to talk about the skill system. And I think the skill system is the main selling point for the game. Not the graphics, not the combat, not the flashy animations or anything. Well, skill system and maybe crafting system. So in Last Epoch you choose a base starting class. In this case I chose Sentinel. And Sentinel class is more like a tanky class, specializes in shields a bit more. Also you do get a base set of skills that you can unlock. Plus you unlock more skills when you increase your class level. You see these skills on the right? They are unlockable active skills. And if you hover your mouse over it, it says, for example in this case it requires Sentinel level 5, which means you have to put 5 passive points into this passive skill tree. And these skills that you unlock by leveling your class will appear in your skill window. There are also advanced classes. For example in this case there is Void Knight, Forge Guard and Paladin. And all you have to do to unlock them is put 20 points in your base class. And then the button will appear allowing you to unlock advanced classes. By the way, the way you get these passive points is not just by leveling but also by completing quests. So it is very similar in Path of Exile. You level up, you gain points, and you also get from quests. Sometimes 1, sometimes 2. Now once you unlock your advanced classes, you can actually put points in any of the advanced classes. And you can mix, for example, Forge Guard and Paladin skills. Now once you put 25 points in the advanced class, you can unlock more skills for that class. And you can actually click preview passives to see whatever passive nodes this class holds. Some passive nodes are more impactful than the others, and some passive nodes are even like a triggered skills or conditional debuffs or buffs. And if you feel like you made a mistake, you can actually refund them, which does cost gold, and the more points you want to refund, the more expensive it becomes. Also in some cases you can hold Alt and see additional information about the passive points. And now we can shift into skills. Now the skills also have passive points, or more like a passive web. Think of this as a support gems in Path of Exile. Now in order to gain these passive points for skills, you have to specialize them. Basically place them in here. And once you do that and then go and kill enemies, you gain experience for each skill and level it up. Leveling up skills doesn't directly improve them, but there are cool ways to modify these skills with your skill passives. For example, Hammer Throw is basically a spectral throw in Path of Exile. What you can do with it, you can make it in like Hammered In from Diablo 2 kind of a style. For example, if you take this point, your hammers will no longer return but will have chance to deal double damage. If you go points to the left, this point will make your hammers spiral, another point to the left will make your hammer spiral around you, and point to the right will add extra projectiles. And I was playing with that quite a lot. It feels almost like Wild Spectral Throw in Path of Exile, except those hammers orbit you. You can also modify it in different ways, like make it shoot in a Nova or even Chain. And the limitation is that you can only get 20 passive points for each skill. And if you decide you don't want to use that skill anymore and you don't want to specialize it, you can despecialize, and that will turn skill back into level 1. So it will lose all the gained experience for that skill. But actually it's not a big deal. I did that before and re-leveled a skill again. It doesn't take much time. However, there is no a simple way to refund just couple points. If you mess up some passive points for skills, you have to despecialize from skill and re-specialize again and re-level again. If you click Alt while hovering over your skill, it will show additional information, for example, what attribute scales it and by how much. And I guess here's the biggest criticism that I have about this skill system. It is not showing enough information about how much actually damage I'm dealing. In some cases it says it will deal 50 base void damage, and it says that it will scale this void damage, spell damage and damage over time. But in other cases, for example Hammer Throw, I have no idea what is the base damage of it. It says that it scales with strength and dex and that it is a throwing attack, but what is the base damage? The melee weapons don't have base throwing attack damage. Melee weapons have only melee damage as base, and then additional prefixes and suffixes. Like for example, in this case, this is a unique sword. It does give base 17 melee physical damage and 8 melee void damage. And then it has a bunch of other mods. So now, which of these stats affect the hammer throw? If it scales from base melee damage, then why does the skill say that it cannot scale with melee? And this is the only annoying thing to me. And it seems that every weapon in this game is currently melee, even ones. Different weapons do have different base modifiers, like ones do have base spell damage, some may have base minion damage. And if the weapon doesn't have base melee damage, then the basic attack DPS number will be 0, but you will still deal damage. But I think only because you have some flat damage added from something. I think. The game doesn't tell me that, so I have no idea. So in order to make a build, you kind of have to guess a lot, and I assume over time they will improve that. I would just like it to be improved and clarified sooner than later. Oh, one last thing about the skills. Like I said, it is still early access and some skills don't have passive skill tree, which can be very disappointing if you level your advanced class to level 30 and only then realize that that skill does not have passives and there's nothing to customize for that skill. And there are some skills that have passive nodes that are not implemented, and you can't really know it until you unlock that skill. But then again, like I said, leveling is pretty fast if you are doing Monolith of Fate or the Arena. And I made, I would say, pretty cool kind of Righteous Fire build, and I gained like 20 levels in one arena until eventually I got one-shotted. And I'm actually not entirely sure what is the maximum level. I am currently level 58 Void Knight and I reached 103 wave in the Endless Arena. Oh, one more thing. Uniques in this game seem to be pretty strong and build enabling, or at least build enhancing. And there are also set items. But so far I only found 2 set items. But now I'm going off topic. And I know people are gonna be asking, is it worth buying? And I cannot answer that. It's up to you, I think. Just keep in mind that this game is still early access and it is still in beta. It does seem a bit expensive for its current state. But then again, Path of Exile was in the same spot many years ago. So I think it's time to wrap up this video. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.